app. So all these phenomenal women of God are gathered here, and we have two phenomenal speakers. We have entrepreneur and prophetess Dora Rain, who is the host of the event today. And then we also have a special guest. She is an entrepreneur as well and a minister in her own right. She is the owner of Purely Loved Butters and Scrubs, the Purely Loved Retreat, speaking to women about sexuality and purity, but God's way, the way He intended it for it to be. And it is phenomenal. And so here they are. This is going to be Shannon.
Taylor.
Thank you. Shannon Taylor and Dora Rain. Yay!
Where you going?
Oh, we're over here. Okay.
What happened? You messed up my stuff? 0913. How's everybody doing?
Doing awesome.
Good.
Great. Excellent, excellent. I'm going to go live. Go ahead and start. Hey, sis.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Everybody, this is Breaking Out to Break Up. And I want to thank everybody for coming here today. Today, this section, or this segment, is where we're going to talk about relationships. We're not going to browbeat men. We're not going to browbeat women. We're going to answer every question that you have. We're going to have fun. We're going to have an intelligent conversation. But there's a lot of things that's within us. And my sis here is going to tag team. And then we're going to have a seat. That there's a lot happening when it comes to marriage that we just don't deal with self. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we are the foundation of our homes when it comes to our husbands. And if we've never been taught foundation and how to be sturdy, even if a rock hits it or a hammer hits it, if there's a crack in it, but you still keep it together. We haven't been taught how to keep it together in the midst of hurt. So we come broken, they come broken. And so we're going to talk about that. We want to answer every question. Everybody has to have a question in the room, so write something down and get ready. And for all those that are watching on social media, if you have a question, ask us. Even the men that are watching, say, yeah, that's what women need to hear. No, this is what you need to hear as well. Okay? So, Mother, what did you want to say before we have a seat?
I just wanted to piggyback off of the foundation. A lot of times women cry they want a godly man, but the way you know that you're ready for a godly man is if you can submit to God. And if you can't submit to God, then you're not ready for His son. Because just the way that God cares for His daughters, He cares just as much for His sons. So we got to get that foundation right.
Right, and the sons have to understand how to love their wife the way that Christ said love us, not how your mother taught you to love. Yes. That's deep. Yeah, I mean, you guys can talk. That's deep. Let's have a seat, Mother. Y'all been shot and your stomach ain't showing. That's how you know you're married. You got some extra stuff. You can laugh. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. So one thing I want to say about marriage, and I met this awesome woman at a birthday party that Ashley had, and we just clicked and we talked about things about marriage and how men are, you know, like, one thing we bitched about, I would turn in the middle of the night and I seat up and you fall in the toilet, they got all that urine in and your tail wet, and you look up, oh, did this. And when you're not used to having somebody in your own environment, Miss Dora looking like, oh, that's just nasty. But it happens. Do you have a fit? Do you break out and just scream and yell and holler?
No.
I did.
Oh.
I went out. But I wasn't used to that. But we want to get questions from you guys. There's things like that. How do you handle that? Do you keep something like that in your house? Do you tell your girlfriends about it? What do you tell your girlfriends when you want things that? Let me slow down. What things do you tell your girlfriends that happen in your house? Are there certain things you keep quiet? Do you have a confidant that's someone that's older? You know, will your girlfriends understand where you're at right now? Do you keep them as friends? Some people say no, some say yes. I say keep your friends. But my thing is you have to understand now your place has shifted.
Yes.
Your responsibility has shifted.
Yes. And you have to understand whom you can tell what to. Because some friends can't handle what's going on in your marriage.
Right.
And they're not supposed to. But then you need that strong couple that you can go to who will set you straight.
Right.
And not sugarcoat. And I had that happen. And she had me repent to my husband. And one thing that I learned early in marriage after many fights was it wasn't my husband's job to make me happy.
That's deep.
And I looked at her like she had lost her mind. I'm like, but what is why get married if you're not supposed to make me happy? But that was not his job. And so what a lot of women don't understand, if you are not happy now, you will not be happy married. Marriage is not a magic wand. It's not your end all be all, and it will not fix what's wrong with you or him. So,
Right. And another thing is, if you had goals and dreams, ladies, hear me good when I say this. You don't stop your dream and your vision because you got married. You level it up. He has to understand your goals and your destiny and what you're called to do while you're single. Let him see you doing your conferences. That's so neat. She got a little light on her thing.
It made y'all brighter.
Yeah, through all the light. I'm that's what she gotta get. I got it.
I leveled up.
I just do that. Literally. But honestly, if you know that you're called to influence, motivate, and persuade, and he's like, yeah, I got you, but on the end, he's nothing like that, and he's not leveling you up. You have to look at that's someone that you want to be married to. Because if you know you're called, everyone in this room is called to some form of entrepreneurship. You know, we have to have at least 2 or 3 streams of income coming in some form of fashion, what we're called to do. If who you're dating does not understand that about you, he just want to have fun and lay up. Let's just go to movies and you're supposed to be, you got clients that are waiting, that's money that's waiting online, and he can't respect your hustle and your game. Can I keep it 100?
Please.
I'm from California, Oakland, the Bay Area originally. I'm a retired thug. But I'm keeping it real. And I learned that from being in the Bay Area around successful people and those from the street. That person has to understand where you're called to do and where you're called to go.
yes.
What you're called to do and where you're called to go. If you guys can't mesh and see, you have to level up together. It will not work. Some people, and correct me, some of us back down for his vision to happen, then he'll back up. I have a girlfriend of mine that said, well, I'm going to stop going to college so he can go to college. I said, but understand what's about to happen. Not all men this happens to, but I told her, I was in prayer about it. I said, you're going to stop getting your education. He's going to get his education and move on. And that's exactly what happened. Do not stop what you're called to do. Do everything you're supposed to do before you get married, so when you get married, you won't have any regrets. I knew I should have listened to his mom because she rolled her eye. You should have noticed that before you got to his mom. Am I right or am I wrong, ladies?
Please don't ignore the signs. Please.
Don't ignore the sign. I know this is not a browbeat thing. We've been talking a lot about our assignments that's in our lives, but I know you ladies had questions about marriage. We answered some of them at the last event we were at. What questions do you guys have now? What concerns do you have now? Because a lot of you in the room, everyone in the room is single, correct?
Yes.
So the question would be, why am I still single? That should be a question. What am I doing right? If you're not, and let me say this to everyone that's even watching, there's nothing as women that you're doing wrong. Except you're going through trial and tribulation, where your God is trimming you, trimming that fat off, all that extra mouth, all the extra attitude, or, watch this, or he's trimming you to be great for the next level, what you're called to do. Watch this, mother, correct me if I'm wrong. Because a lot of times when we're going through things like this, your mate is not where you're at, it's where you're going.
That is very true. Very true. Or I found out the hard way because God didn't reveal my calling until after I got married. But that's because neither one of us were saved when we got married. So the first 5 to 7 years of our marriage was pure hell because I didn't understand my place and he didn't understand his either. But afterwards, thank God that he surrendered and I surrendered. But that surrender looked different. Because as women, we have a tendency, it's easier for us to surrender to God because that's just our nature. You know, if we feel secure, we surrender.
Right.
But if you get in a relationship and this man does not make you feel secure, you will be in battle with him instead of coming together as one. So it's important to do everything on the outside.
So I can't fight him?
Our Father would not allow it.
Because we know some women in the room like to fight.
Yes, and
You
as
can't
long
fight
as
them,
you
y'all.
know, you
She
can't.
look
You
like
can do a different kind of fighting that's permitted within marriage, and you take that for what you
Don't
want.
put nothing in his food. I know somebody. Don't put nothing in his food, please. Just what you.
I talk about the different kind of fighting you can do within marriage. That's permitted. No.
I'm just playing. Don't record that. I ain't going to jail.
Too late.
Live.
Too late.
It's live.
Oh, don't tell nobody our secrets.
No case in the name of Jesus. She had a question.
No, she had a question. Yes. Yeah, you're beautiful.
Well, I'm actually married. I'm a newlywed.
Yes.
I've been married for like 7 months.
Put the camera on her.
What I wanted to ask was, I heard that you said the first 5 to 7 years were because you weren't saved. So my question is, what do you do? What do you do during the waiting period? Like, I'm seeking God, but my husband, we pray together, but he's not seeking Him like I am.
So what I tell a lot of women, and as I said before, women, we surrender faster than men. And I think it's just because what God put in men. And so 1 Peter 3, saved me. Because sometimes we want to use this too much for the wrong thing. And He's just not going to receive it from you if you nag. But I was telling this young lady that our jobs as wives is to partner with God to bless our husbands. You can do a lot with this in prayer instead of being in His ear. So you love on Him and respect Him for where He is, and then you take the rest to His Father.
So be a wife, not a knife.
Yes.
Be a wife, not a knife.
Amen.
That's good, huh? Make a t-shirt.
So I have a question, or more so, what would you say to encourage women, especially nowadays we have so many messages that we hear and posts we see through social media and then testimonies. And granted, everybody's story is different, but a lot of times, like you said, you both weren't saved when you got married. We'll hear testimonies for people that are in toxic relationships with somebody, or someone they may have just married or maybe getting married. And someone will share a testimony saying, hey, my wife wasn't saved when we got married. Hey, my husband wasn't saved when we got married. What do you say to the person that in their heart is already seeking God, but is in a relationship with someone that isn't seeking God yet, or is there, so that they, because they kind of cling to that hope that, well, hey, that testimony, was for them. Who's saying that that's not my story? How do they know this person isn't my husband or wife?
Well, when I say not saved, we had 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Right.
We were going to church. We prayed the prayer, but we were still sleeping together outside of marriage.
Right.
But if he is not saved, and you know he is not saved, then please obey the Bible and do not be unequally yoked. The reason why we went through hell is because we were not fully in with God. That's why we went through hell, and because I was selfish and he was selfish, and neither one of us knew anything about marriage, and we didn't know His word. So we didn't know what marriage was supposed to look like. It wasn't until we both fully surrendered and were not lukewarm till we actually got it together.
That's good.
Now, the only reason it worked is because my husband began to love God, not by me pushing him and not by me dragging him to church. He chose to on his own. I had nothing to do with it. It was between him and God. So there's a difference between finding a man who desires God and a man you got to freaking drag to get right. You leave him where he is.
Right there with his mama's house.
Yes, or whatever that chick
And that
name
nasty,
is.
that chick and that nasty, he ain't cleaned his room. Don't get with a man that don't clean his room.
Yes.
Okay, I'm the funny part. That's it. Good scripture is, how can two walk together unless they agree? How can two walk together unless they agree? So you marry someone that has their foot, like she said, out and in. So you married a double-minded man who's unstable in all his ways. So now you have this business, now you have this child, now you have your family. He's double-minded. He's going to do and say what he needs to get you. And once he gets you, then you wonder what's going on, what happened. You're not doing the same things. One thing that a girlfriend of mine said, I won't say her name, she lives in Smyrna, she said this to me. She said, until you've done a full year, and you've seen how he responds to every holiday to you. Christmas, birthday, Valentine's, name another holiday, Thanksgiving, all of them. How does he respond to those things? If he has a foot in and a foot out, he doesn't know yet. You have to back up as a woman. Because it says, watch this. It said that Eve ate the fruit. Watch this. He never said nothing to her. He influenced her.
Mm.
It says, if you read it correctly and you break each word down, hear me, I broke every word down to get an understanding of this. She pondered in her own mind to sin. He over there, he watched. She never spoke to Adam. She thought it. She made her own decision to do the wrong thing. Again, double-minded. You have a choice to make the mind. You see the signs already. Let's keep it 100. We base everything off of social media. He texts you, I love you, but can't call you. I love you. Then you know you have a certain level of food that you like to eat, a certain class that you like to eat. It's not being bougie. I just like this level, but I want to keep you at McDonald's, and you start gaining weight, you getting upset. If you know this is your level, stay at your level. Level it up.
Do not stoop and do not compromise.
And do not compromise.
Come on.
You don't have to compromise. Because a lot of times we're trying to deal with men at this level when you call to go here. Everyone in this room is an entrepreneur. So if that man doesn't understand your entrepreneurship mindset and that you're a go-getter, that you'll be in New York 4 times a year, I don't trust you going by yourself, then he has trust issues. Don't let him put a sin on you. A lot of men put their sin on you because they yet not delivered.
Yes. Or their insecurity.
And they're insecure. So here you go with your insecure self, giving someone insecure, both y'all insecure, both y'all crazy.
And nobody going nowhere.
Right, then you develop generational curses, your children come out with the same thing. If you wonder why they're suicidal. That the Bible says sin begets sin. So what happens, now you have children, and guess what? The sin gets greater. You didn't deal with suicide, but they do. Because natural law and spiritual law has to line up together. That's the word. Y'all say, well, prove it to him. Where's that in the word? Let's go back to Adam and Eve. Let's go back to Cain and Abel. Adam and Eve, they're together, they're one, they both sinned. The sin got greater. They had the children, and one killed the other. Sin begets sin. So know them that labor among you. That's the word. So you have children, your children will come out. Being all crazy and stuff. All in jail. You have to bail them out. But you're like, our lineage isn't like that. What side did it come from? You didn't deep, it came from his side. Or it came from her side. You have to look at those things. And people say, you crazy? I'm married. I had to look at those things. I did look at those things. I counted all those things. And then I said, okay, this is good stuff. I saw the error. I saw the wrong. And I said, okay, can I stay single and work it out? Let me see, I'm getting older. Don't let age get you. Women in corporate America across the world having babies at 50. And we looking like, I'm not 50, I'm sorry, I say women, I don't put myself in that category. I'm not. You what?
I'm over that.
All right, Miss D, Miss G. And women are having babies at 50, 52. Don't get through on the time clock and you marry some jigaboo. And he's sagging still. How you 30 and 40 sag? That's the whole, I'm sorry. Don't bring him to me, Ashley. Don't bring him to me. Tamara, bring nobody sagging with some hat hook to the side and he's 40-some years old.
Yes, ma'am. Somebody he's trying to get his rap career.
He just rapping.
Lies.
You ain't no rapper after
Lies.
25. I'm sorry. No.
2 Chainz gave them hope.
2 Chainz gave him hope.
Gave them hope.
He paid somebody for that one. Oh, that's gonna go
That's
viral.
false hope.
That's cross hope.
False hope.
False hope.
False hope.
So,
I have a question.
yes.
So it's more of a personal question for women or people that's learning how to be vulnerable. How do you learn how to be vulnerable before you get married? Because I have that issue with I would just like if it's getting down too close, if we're getting too close or anything like that, I would just leave or not like go further.
Did they do
in a
something wrong?
relationship. Like more so for me, like I just don't allow myself to open parts of myself when I'm dating. And I was just wondering, how do you kind of learn how to do that
It's a
while you're
choice.
single?
It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
You have to open up to someone. I had said this before you walked in, that Mother Royce Parker in Waterloo, Iowa, because this woman, I mean, I talk to her like every day, okay? And I said this, a woman that doesn't have girlfriends, you can't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Mother taught me that. You have to find someone and be vulnerable with.
So I'm vulnerable with my friends.
You have to trust the process. That means you're setting the wrong man. If you can't be vulnerable with him, there's something wrong off top.
It could be a defense mechanism.
A defense
The
mechanism.
Lord protecting you.
right? Or there's something blocking you. There's something there that you haven't dealt with yet, and you won't let him in. You'll miss a great guy because you still deal with hangups that you're not ready to deal with. If you don't deal with them, you get in marriage, it'll make it worse. Then you start pulling back. He's thinking what's happening, and it's what you call triggers.
Yeah.
You start triggering. He'll do something that an ex did, that the outcome would be different, but he doesn't have the chance to let the outcome come because you trigger. You pop off. You pack your bags. You're like, what happened? And then you lose them. You know, you don't want to lose someone just yet. When you don't know the outcome will be different. The enemy gets us here, and then he gets us here. Vain, cast down all vain imaginary thoughts. That's the word. So you have to start dealing with self and say, I have to trust someone.
Yeah.
And maybe the Lord has this gentleman in your life just to get you through the process. Understand that men will come in our lives to help us process, to mature, and to grow. Does not mean that he is the one.
That's deep. Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Yo.
You may have Sugar Joe Daddy. So it's all that's actually he still got the wave cap on his head or whatever, but he got a lot of wisdom. He's so nice, but so sorry. But guess what? He may have wisdom to help you mature in a certain area. The Lord brings people to us for a season. Sorry, guys. For a season, for a reason. Doesn't mean they're in your life for a lifetime.
Also, learn to look at men as your brothers in Christ. Every guy that you talk to is not your potential husband.
Amen.
That's your
That's a part of the journey, though.
yeah, like
That's hard.
He's your brother. He's your brother.
Stop walking up on him and say, oh, is that him? Stop. Stop.
But can we talk about that, like on a real tip? Can we really talk about that? Because our minds have been, our minds have been so trained and so focused to think that way. Like if you're coming from the world to Christ, that okay, I really do want to be married. There's this desire. I've had sex. There's this craving and this urge, and then now it can only be satisfied through marriage. So, okay, so when I see a brother worshiping and praising God at the altar, it's hard not to automatically think, oh my gosh, he would be great. He would be a good father.
Because he on his knees?
Not just that.
He's praying at the altar.
Just to co-sign of what she's saying, it's also with all the stuff that, so I'm gonna make sure I get you.
Yeah.
It's also to co-sign what she's saying, like we hear all these messages, or like perfect example, we're in a series now about family.
Yes.
So then you hear about marriage, like, okay, singles, I got you too, but then it's like, okay, God, we're in there praying, like, at least for me, God, help me view this man as my brother, help me view this man as my brother. And then 90% of the guys, that come into church are married, or then when you do see a single one, it's like all the single women be like, did you see that new single coming serving? Did you see him worshiping the Lord? And then they be like, ooh, sisters, when you get married, I've been married 30 years, it's nothing sexier than when he praising God. And then you look at that one single guy, you're like, but God, I need to look at him as my brother, but dang, he is fine. Maybe he is the one. Like those are really the thoughts that a lot of us struggle with, but it's hard to kind of, okay, God, like it feels like every 5 seconds you're praying, God, help me see him as a brother, help me see him as a brother.
So you're stalking them
Like
spiritually.
unintentionally, yeah.
You're stalking them. He's bombarded by all this coming at him in his head.
And he's just trying to develop his relationship.
Like, can I live down like them stalking me on the, looking at me, put a throw over him. I'm just playing. You like I'll just cover him up so he can't even see him.
I think that is one of the things when God says we have to renew our minds.
Yeah.
You have to come out of that world mindset. And it's one of those things I think the enemy uses to do like this to single women. It's one of those sore spots. He keeps poking. Y'all, the man is trying to develop his relationship with Christ.
Oh.
Help your brother. And this is what I'm saying. What can you do on this side? Pray for him. Pray for him. He might be your sister's husband. Can you look at it that way? Don't you want your sister to marry a godly man?
Everybody in the room look like no.
We just lost another one. We recently went through that. We just lost another one, just being honest.
But seriously, it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. You have to figure out, all right, check yourself.
Mother, back up. You need to go back to when we were all kids. Because versus our parents giving us a doll that said, this is your baby sister. They said, this is your baby.
It's your baby. We're trained.
This is your baby doll. And one day you're gonna have a husband. And so we're taught in our minds from childhood and first baby, then marriage. That's why we messed up on that already.
That's true.
Versus,
I wouldn't even talk about marriage, so.
right, so my thing is, we gotta go back to the root of things and say, okay, Lord, I got great things to do. When it's time, he'll find me.
Yeah, yeah.
In time, he will find me. Is that a hard pill? Yes, it is. If you're not busy enough.
That's true.
So I believe a lot of women, like how I was taught, I'm not much older than you guys. You're not busy enough. You're not doing enough. You should go home and almost pass out. Walk your dogs, feed your cat, your fish, whatever, and then you read your book, you go to bed, you make calls, but then you crash. But when you're doing things and you're fulfilling the things as a single woman and man, doing things in the community, you know you don't have the kids. Go work with the kids in the community. Do something to fill that up. A lot of us don't. We Netflixing, Huluing. We're on the phone 6 hours in the evening time, getting lonelier. Seeing all these people coupled up, blinging, all that, posing. But I realize she getting whooped by him when you're not looking.
Yeah.
We don't know what people are going through. Okay? So I will say, level it up. Get busy. Get busy in your business. Get busy doing things. So when you finally meet that mate, everything you're doing will line up where he's at. What if you end up golfing? You go to the golf course. This gentleman's watching you. You're so focused on your game. He's looking like, wow, nothing disturbs her. I need a woman like that, so we focus. Everything you're learning while you're single, your husband needs it in you now. So allow the experience to happen. Don't alter stock them. Call them alter stock. Don't alter stock them. And my thing is, do what you're supposed to do while you're single. Because when you get married, if he shifts and says, I don't want you doing those things anymore, what are you going to do? I am. But you didn't get rid of that attitude yet, and you didn't see that part of him as well. Because you learn a lot. When that ring hits your finger and you lock in, some shifts in them. You have to know what that shift looks like before you marry him so you can handle it. So you have to be vulnerable. He needs to see that side of you, that cuckoo side. And will he love it, like it, or hate it? I would hate any of you to get married and get an annulment in 90 days. That's happening like Bryce on water. They're getting annulments, mother. They're like, I didn't notice about you, I'm done. Be authentic, but be real.
But again, and that requires your mindset to change. Get busy now, because it's different in marriage. The way you have to fight to be an entrepreneur is the way you have to fight for your marriage. So if you can't fight for your business now, and it's just you whom you're supposed to just really love,
Right.
how are you going to fight for your marriage?
Right.
And this other person who's not going to always be your Prince Charming, let's just be real, being have periods too. And I don't always love mine. Just tell the truth.
Or did you say men have periods?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They got PMS. They got it.
Yes,
So
sir,
how
you
you
got
gonna
that.
deal with that? Like seriously, how are you gonna deal with that? So the more you get this right now, not being idle, focusing on your business, because he might say, all right, God is leading us for you to stay home for a while. How you gonna handle that?
Do I get a budget?
How? Right, then you can say, well, honey, what happens if we run out of money? Well, honey, you're not doing that side business at the house since you want me at the house. We got to get 12,000 stacked up over here.
Yeah.
What? Now he can respect the hustle or the thing of why he told you to stay home. You were upset about it. God made it a blessing because the Lord knew what was going to happen if you're down the road. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you have to level it up. You have to take care of all your business now. So when you get married, some things are going to actually going to stop. See, some would be able to bounce out a little bit.
The season of change, and then they pause for a minute or speed up, or you have kids, and that just flips everything upside down.
Right. Right. So right now you guys don't have any of that.
So you have no excuses. So write the book.
Like the book, ladies. Some of you have lives that others that we'll probably never experience.
Yes.
Write the book. One of my spiritual dollars I gave a Jill to, and I said, write the journal for the whole year. This is going to be your book. Everyone in here should have a book. I'll be having this again in April. I probably won't see any of you in April, but in May, I want to see you. Why? I want to see what your book looks like. I'm going to help you publish it.
Or your website.
Or your website. We're going to work on all that. But I say all of that. Excuse my vernacular. Because it's time, ladies. Walk into a marriage saying, we're walking in this marriage with no debt.
Yes.
So I'm walking into this, that I have a house, you have a house, let's rip these houses out, or sell them and we move into our own. Because I'm not moving into yours, you're not moving into mine. Let's do that. See how it is with your business. start another branch of a business and see how you guys work together on this little business first. Can he handle it? What if you marry somebody that came from poverty and you used to money? But he's not, but now he has access to your account. What are you gonna do? You ever thought about that? Do you share joint accounts? That's a whole other story. You pay his bill, you pay your bill. That's major. That destroys families. If you have a terrible, was it not FICO score? What's the score?
FICO.
Our credit
Yeah,
score,
credit score.
really, 400. He has an 800. Everything's gonna be in his name. Can you handle that? Because your score is so bad. All that matters. And I know a woman did that, where the guy said, "I can't do the marriage." He canceled the wedding. He said, and couldn't find out she had like 8, 10 credit cards. You have to know what your mate has. Are you walking into debt? You got to pay off all your stuff. Baby, I got you. I'm gonna get it back for you. When they start stuttering like that. You just married a jigaboo. I'm sorry. I got that jigaboo. My grandma would do that. Yes, Ashley.
2 things. One, can you elaborate on that more like you did just now about the debt or what they may or may have about the child support thing? If you marry someone that has a child going into the relationship, because that's another expense. Can you elaborate on that? And then what is the opinion on the shared account? Because we're taught one thing growing up, we're taught something else coming into the church, but then from people that are spiritually, that have been through this, that we know are of God, we hear varying opinions on that, or is that something you need to discern in your marriage about the joint account thing?
Unless you tackle it first, I'm gonna hit it first.
I think it depends on the strengths and weaknesses in the marriage. I'll talk about the joint account thing. He may be good with money, you may not be. So he may do the budget for the month or whatever. Some people, it works for them to have separate accounts. So they'll have, 3 accounts. They'll have one joint account for all the bills, and then you have your account for your play money, and he'll have his for his play money. But I have found that as long as you two are in agreement on how it is set up and it keeps peace in your marriage, have at it. The issue comes when there's not honesty. So if you should marry somebody who can't be honest about their money, if he can't tell you how much he makes and all this and that, then
No, can you see it?
yes,
Today you have to be able to see it.
you got to, because he can tell you anything. But before you even get to that point, like, yeah, you have to see where he is before you even talk about how your accounts are gonna be, And men, some people are good at hiding it. How are you with your account? Like, would he want to be in a joint account with you?
Do you overdraft all the time?
Yeah.
All the overdraft fees. You want to call bank? I'm sorry, I'm gonna say. You want to call the bank? Can you give me back them $75 that I missed? That my checking. And then you're constantly doing that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We all go through that. But still, what's your pattern? And we're gonna wrap it up with this last question. What was the first question you said, Ashley?
Oh, well, when you were talking about the expenses, like, do you want to marry into someone that has debt, or what they're the things you're marrying into? One expense that was shared before was like child support. If you marry someone with a child, because most people don't think about that, they think about, oh, it's an instant family, or oh, the baby, but you don't think about the fact that that's going to be another expense coming out.
Right, and it is going to be expensive that's going to come out. What if you say the gentleman pays for the child support? That's a good thing. You can't take that from him as a woman, because that's his child. That was his life before you. The child, and that's going to be your family as well. Buying
Be
clothes.
concerned if he's not paying.
That's what
a
I'm
red
getting to.
flag.
If he's not, that's a red flag. He'll do the same thing to you. History repeats itself. Whatever he does with the ex girlfriend, that's how she is. That's how. Watch that. Because he'll do the same thing to you. Not saying all of them will, but there's a pattern. Especially if the family condones his behavior, it's a pattern automatically. What was the other question about money? Right?
Yeah, y'all answered it.
We answered it. Okay. I think that was kind of it. Anybody else have any questions? We're gonna shift and begin to move into the next genre of what we're about to do. You guys, it's been awesome. Miss, and what's her name?
Shannon.
Taylor.
Taylor. So everyone that was watching, we love you. Thank you guys for participating. Share this, please. Share. We love you. And Miss Sharon, you want to say anything?
I think we covered a good bit. We did.
straight boss.
Yes,
So
I'm proud.
it's an honor. It's an honor. All right, I love you, everybody. We're gonna shift into the next segment.